Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast about running, fitness, and all things health related. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I'll introduce a new episode that is of interest to all runners. Welcome to episode 275 of Martha Runs the World. This week, I'm talking all about gear we love. Yeah, we runners love our stuff, don't we? Yeah, it's pretty funny. When we start running, we think of, running doesn't cost that much. All we need is like a pair of shoes, and that's it. We don't take into consideration that there's a whole lot of other stuff we can buy, maybe we want to buy, to make running more pleasurable, to make it easier, maybe not easier, but just to make things more comfortable, to help us in our journey. Running can be an expensive sport. Of course, it's not on the same lines as triathlons, cycling. Cycling itself is very, very expensive, or other type sports. It's definitely not that expensive, but it can get costly. In this week, I'm going to make this a two-part episode. This part, I'm going to only concentrate on things that you wear or things that you bring with you on the run. The second part will be stuff that you use before your run or your days off, or things that can help you after you run. So that will be a whole separate episode, and I'll talk about that in a few weeks. The first and most important part is shoes. Now, I've done whole episodes on shoes. I did a whole episode on the history of running shoes, so I'm not going to go into the weeds on this week about shoes. And I suggest checking out the history of running shoes. I'll put a link on the website about that episode where I go way into depths about shoes and how we got to where we are today. If you're a beginning runner, or your feet have changed in any way, and it's true, our feet do change as we get older. I didn't realize that my feet got bigger a few years ago. It's true, they actually got bigger by a half size, and I lost both my two big toenails because my feet had grown, and I didn't realize it. So I had to get my feet fitted again after a few decades of running. I know, it's very strange, but it happens. It really does. Very, very strange thing. But there are different types of shoes, and after you get your feet fitted, you may realize, if you've never had it done, or if you haven't had it done for many years, you may find that you're not even wearing the best shoe for your foot. It only takes a couple minutes in a running shoe store, and you may find that there are better shoes for your feet that you never even realized existed. And this may be a big revelation for you. So why not have it done? It wouldn't hurt, right? Don't be afraid to try a different brand of shoe, of the same kind of shoe that you wear. If you are looking for a different brand of running shoe and you need a stability shoe, you're a road runner and you need a stability shoe, look at the different types of brands. Now, some brands run very narrow. Some brands run very wide. Looking for wider shoes, you might look at Adidas, Brooks, New Balance, Asics. And these are just road running shoes I'm talking about now. Nothing about trail running yet. But those are some of the best wide shoe brands. If you're looking for a narrow shoe brand, look at these brands. Salomon. I love Salomon shoes. I love the way they look. But their shoes always run so narrow, so I can't ever wear them. No, Salomon, no, they're always out of bounds for me. But if you have very narrow feet, Salomon. Nike apparently is really good for narrow feet. I wouldn't know. Salomon, Nike, Mizuno are apparently good for them. And Saucony are really good brands for narrow feet. So those are some brands to look at if you have narrow feet. And you also want to think of, if you want a big drop between your heels and toes. Some shoes have a very, very high drop, and some people are very comfortable with that, and it helps them run. And some people like me like zero drop. I like my heel to be on the same level as my toes. It's comfortable for me. But some people can't run like that. I have a friend who tried Ultras, and no matter how many times she tried, she kept getting cramps in her feet. So she can't do that. I love it. I can't run without the zero drop. So I'll never go away from that. You have to decide whether that's something that you want or not. I love Ultra Torrens. However, why is it that whenever a shoe company brings out the latest style, they change something that's really good? Like with the Torrens, they made the shoe area a little narrower, and okay, it's fine now. But if you make it any more narrow, I will not be able to wear them anymore, and I'll have to look for another brand. So it's like, stop it. Just stop, Ultra. They're fine the way they are. Don't change anything else. I'm glad you changed the tongue, because the tongue on the last update of the style was terrible. So I'm glad you changed that. Thank you for that. But do not make it more narrow. It doesn't have to be more narrow. Please do not change that. I appreciate the shoe not having a drop. I like that natural style. Now, I also like a little bit of cushion. I don't like a giant bunch of cushion. Torrens have a lot of cushion, but they're not like the Olympus, which is like running on a mattress. It just feels weird to me. I can't get used to that weird feeling, but I like it in between. Some people like minimal, so some people don't like hardly any cushion at all. So you decide which one you want. Do you want minimal? Do you want no cushion? I mean, buy a pair of shoes and see if you like it. Sometimes you have to get used to it. And then there are those who run in sandals. Now, I don't get that, but some people love it. They really enjoy that feeling of being one with the earth, but they don't step on glass and other icky things. So they wear sandals to protect their feet. If you're one of them, more power to you. Good on you, as they say. That's not me. Now, with trail running shoes, most trail running shoes are neutral. There are very, very few you're going to find that are stability, because you don't need the stability out on the trail. You need shoes that are going to give as you run along, because if they're too clunky, too less likely to move, that's going to really hurt you. So you don't need that when you're trying to get up and over roots and rocks and windy trails and technical stuff. So a stability shoe is going to really hurt you on the trail. So don't try to find one. Just go with the neutral and work that way. Now, if you do find that doesn't help you, go for a shoe with less padding. Go for a shoe that's more minimal, because that may help you a little bit and give you the stability that you need, that you're lacking in the shoe build itself, if that makes sense. Now, what you want to consider with trail running shoes is, do you want one with a rock plate or not? Rock plate will help you if you tend to run over very technical or very rocky trails. If you're running in the desert all the time where there's lots and lots of rocks, you may want the rock plate. Now, what you do sacrifice with the rock plate is that you sacrifice the cushion. So it really depends on what kind of trail you run on. If you don't run on technical or rocky trails, you may want to sacrifice the rock plate and get some with more cushion. I don't happen to go on real technical or real rocky trails a lot, so I get the Timp, the Ultra Timp, which doesn't have a rock plate. It has a little bit more cushion in it, but it's up to you. You may decide that you want the Lone Peak instead, that has the rock plate, but it has less cushion. So it's all give and take. You have to decide what is most important to you. Okay, watches. Now, watches, this again is what you want out of a watch and what you want to spend in a watch. There are 4 major watch brands. Now, I'm not going to talk about Apple or Samsung watches because they're not running watches. I'm only going to talk about real running watches. I'm only going to talk about 4 different major watch brands, and I'm going to say which one the pros and cons of each one and which one you may decide that is the best one for you. The 4 I'm talking about is Garmin, Suunto, Polar, and Coros. Now, Garmin is the biggest and most well-known one. I'm sure you've heard about them. I wear a Garmin myself, and I'll probably stick with them. I do want to upgrade this summer because the watch I have isn't going to be adequate enough for the longer races I plan to do in the next couple years. I wish there was a watch that I could choose what I want out of it and not all the extra stuff, because I think there's just a ton of extra stuff that I don't need. The watch that I have now, it's a 245, and I think that the battery life would be much, much longer if it didn't have all the extra stuff that I don't use. But that's me. But I will get an upgrade this summer if I can afford it. And it's not cheap. But I do like Garmin. I've always liked their products. And I appreciate the fact that it has an easy learning curve. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand how my watch works. So that is a big plus for me. I mean, I can understand how things work. I'm pretty easy with that stuff. It doesn't take me long to do it, but I don't want to sit there and have to figure out things with a manual or with a YouTube video when I have to do that with a lot of other things. So if one thing is easy, okay, I'll take that as a win. The second brand of watch is Suunto. Now, Suunto has been around a while. I actually had thought that they had gone out of business, but I still hear people using them. I don't think people wear them as much as they used to. I always heard about how difficult they are to learn to use. I don't know if that's still the case. Hopefully they're easier. I don't know, but I always heard that they were really, really difficult to understand how to use. And I know that they're super expensive, and I don't know the plus side of them, but people who have them are really loyal. So there must be something really good about them. So if you have a Suunto and you love it, tell me why. I don't understand why. I still see people having them. I haven't heard of anyone buying anything new, so maybe they last a long time. Maybe that's one of the big pluses, is that they're long lasting. But I do know that they're really, really hard to understand. There's a really steep learning curve with Suunto. The next one is Polar brand, and Polar makes some very tempting looking watches. They're a Finnish company, and they've been around for a while, but they're very well known for their heart rate monitors, and apparently they make the best heart rate monitors around. They jumped into the running watch scene quite abruptly, and they're making leaps and bounds. So they may be something of interest to you, especially if you're interested in a running watch and a heart rate monitor. That might be the brand for you. Now, the last and not least watch company is Coros. Coros is a Chinese company, and they are just making incredible leaps in the running watch. They make economical watches that have extremely long battery life. So I would say if you're planning on doing a 200-mile race and you want something to last all that time, that probably is the brand for you. Or if you don't want to spend a lot of money, that again is the brand for you. I've also heard that they're easy to use and easy to understand, so that is good. That's a big plus as well. So those are the 4 brands, and they each have their pluses and minuses. But yeah, if you have a particular brand that you like, maybe I missed one, let me know what you enjoy using. I didn't talk about Apple or any of that because they're not really running watches. And when you get into the longer distances, a regular smartwatch isn't going to cut it. You really, really do need a running watch. Hydration units or hydration holders. There are different ways that you can take not only your water, but your stuff with you when you run. Now, if you're just running 2 miles, 3 miles, you don't really need anything except maybe a pocket to keep your ID. And yes, you should always take your ID with you. I see these people running when I go out running, and it doesn't look like they're carrying anything. And I really hope they're taking their ID with them. I mean, what happens if God forbid they get hit by a car? Will anyone know who they are, where they come from? They can't access their phone because their phone is secured with their, I mean, I guess they could if they use their thumb, but that's kind of morbid. Yeah. So please take your ID with you. Please always take your ID. If you don't need a key to get into your home or apartment, if you don't need anything else, take your ID with you. It's really, really vital that you are able to be recognized or able to be identified. It's very important. If you only do 2 or 3 miles and that's it and you're done and you'll never go any farther than that, okay, your ID can slip in a little pocket and maybe you won't need anything else. But if you plan on doing something more or you plan on going a little farther away from home, then it's really a good idea to take something and take some water with you, because you never know if you're going to be out there a little bit longer than you think and you might need something. I always say plan for the unexpected. And for me, sometimes I take the bus out and I'm gone for a while. So I always take water with me no matter how long my run is. And that means I have to take something, even a handheld with me to carry my stuff. I always do. I always have at least a handheld with me. Now that's going to get me started on handhelds. Okay. Handheld is something that has room for your bottle. It comes with a bottle. When you buy it, it has a little plastic bottle in it, and it holds water or your whatever hydration you want, and it holds your keys, your ID, and maybe room for something else, maybe a goo or a gel or something like that. And that's it's nice. You don't even have to hold on to it. There's a little spot to put your fingers in it, and you just carry it along, and you kind of forget you even have it. It's a really nice, lightweight thing to take with you, and it's very nice to have. I usually use that like in my road half marathons, and it's nice to have. It's a good option for races. If you don't want to carry something or you want something a little more, waist belts are a great other option. Some have a nice spot to put a little bottle in them or a regular size bottle. They can get really big and bulky, and I don't understand that. The ones that are big and bulky do tend to move around a lot. So those I don't really like. But if you can get a smaller one with a small bottle on it that's nice for short distance or a race where they're going to offer you a lot of water along the way that you don't have to worry about. Those are kind of cool. And it's a nice option. And of course, the other way you can go is to do hydration vests. And there are hundreds of choices of hydration vests. You can get confused and lost in each choice. There's so many companies that you can choose from, and you have to figure out what you want. Do you want the hydration vest just for practice, just for your training runs? Do you want it at a race? Are you doing a shorter race? Are you doing a road race? Do they allow hydration vests in this race? Because many marathons and road races these days don't allow hydration vests. Some of the bigger marathon races don't allow them. So you have to figure out if you can even use it in your marathon, in your road marathon. If, of course, it's a trail race, an ultra, you have to figure out, is it a long ultra? Is it big enough for all my stuff? Or is it going to be big enough to carry the water that I need? Or where are the aid stations? All that has to come into play and into your figuring out if it's what you need. And if you're using it in training runs, do you run where there's tons of water available? If there's not tons of water available, are you able to carry enough water for you during your training run? Or do you have to make these smaller loops around to your car to get more water or to a water source? I have a couple different hydration vests. I have one hydration vest that carries 2 bottles worth, and that usually is suffice for me. Now, if I go to an area where there's not a whole lot of water available, I do have that one with the 2 bottles. That's Ultimate Direction. That's my favorite vest. I use that during most of my road runs and most of my trail runs. I also have another vest, a Nathan vest, that has a water bladder. If I go on these really long trail runs where I know I'm not going to be around water at all, I can get a ton of water in that bladder and then take a bottle and then put it with water and maybe with take some Noon tablets and put that in there. Now, you also have the choice. You can take a hydration filtering system with you as well. You can take a Catadine bottle with the filter on it if there's streams or a lake near you that you can filter water as well. That's a really nice way to go too. I do that if I'm going up to Mount Tam area where I know there's going to be water around. I can filter water there as well. That's a nice choice. So you have different things, but you have to have, if you decide to do that and take extra stuff with you, you have to have the hydration pack, the vest that's going to be able to carry that stuff with you. And some mornings it's cool, so I'll take up my running jacket, my very lightweight, it's like a windbreaker type jacket with me. It's very lightweight and it rolls up into almost nothing, so I can put that in my vest, and that's just fine. But you have to take the vest that can carry all that stuff. That's why I like both my Ultimate Direction and my Nathan vests. You can stash a bunch of stuff in the pocket below. That's why you have to figure out if the vest that you want is going to be able to carry some extra stuff. And then, of course, you plan on your food that you're going to take during your run, and anything else that you need. If you have glasses, like I do, I have to take my running glasses, keys, your ID, all that fun stuff you have to put in as well. And if you don't need all that stuff, if you just need one bottle of water and just maybe your car keys, that's it, your ID, and that's it, and you don't need anything else, then maybe a small one will do. And there are other choices too as well. There's one company, Orange Mud, that makes a hydration vest with bottles in the back, and I don't get that at all. There's no way I want to reach back and try to get a bottle off my back. It's like, no, I'm not doing that one. No, it's just kind of strange to me. But I'm not you, and you may love it, and that's awesome. That's why they make it, because people like that choice. So that's very cool. There are a ton of choices. There are a ton of companies. Ultraspire makes really neat vests. They look pretty cool. I've actually looked at their vests recently and said, those are kind of nice. And then if you're doing really long races, you may want to consider a slightly bigger vest and get one of those. Get maybe a fast packing vest or something like that. I have a fast packing vest actually that I plan on doing some fast packing this year. Well, we know that's not happening, but maybe next year, maybe I can get some in because I really, really want to do some. But that is the hydration vests, and you really have to think about what you want in a vest. What do you plan to use your vest for? And then you can look online and see which ones you want. And you could always ask the companies. The running company suppliers are really, really good about answering questions. They'll be very helpful. Now, running clothes are very personal. And since we're getting into warmer weather, I'm only going to concentrate on summer type clothing. I'll be doing a full episode on warm weather running, so I'll get more into it. And I'm going to do another episode on hydration. So that's where I'm going to get extremely technical. So stay tuned for those. Now, what type of running clothes you like is, of course, very personal, as I said. And it really depends on where you live and what kind of sun exposure you want or don't want. Now, tops, long sleeves, short sleeves, no sleeves. If you run in the early morning and it starts to be cool, maybe a long sleeve shirt will work best, and then you want it done, because around here it can still kind of be cold in the morning. So if you are sensitive to the cold, a long sleeve. But I think some runners start out dressed too warm. That's why you always see especially female runners, running with little jackets tied around their waist. Keep the jacket at home. Just keep it at home. You don't need it. Just start out cold. You'll be cold when you start. It doesn't matter. You will warm up, especially this time of year. Winter, it's a different thing, but now it's starting to get warm. Keep the jacket at home and just warm up. Remember, when you run, you're 10 degrees warmer than the temperature outside. Even more so if you tend to run warm, but you're at least 10 degrees warmer. So don't worry about it. It's okay. You will be warm. If not, hit some steps. Do some stairs running, and you will really be warm. I guarantee it. If you do have to run in the heat of day, or you're doing some heat training, long sleeves are really good to protect you. And there are some terrific companies that give choices on long sleeve running shirts that offer UV protection. Now, Badwater runners swear by them, and I'll put a link to one of the companies on the website that you can buy them from. And they're really cool. I do want to get myself one of those shirts. They're really, really awesome. Now, some runners never wear their running shirts that they get from races. I love mine. I wear my running race shirts all the time. That's what I usually wear when I go out on training runs. Now, I do have certain favorites that I wear a lot, but I get a lot of use out of my race shirts. Now, if you do happen to run in the early morning or at night after it gets dark, please wear light or brighter shirts. I still see most nighttime runners around here in San Francisco wearing dark or black shirts. I'm not sure what they're thinking, or if they're thinking at all. It's not safe. You being invisible is not going to help you be seen by cars. Seriously, get something bright, and for God's sakes, put on your headlamp. Really, I'm serious here. Wear a headlamp. Lots of streets in San Francisco don't have adequate lighting, street lamps, so it can only help you. Now, pants, shorts, leggings, skirts, there's all kinds of choices that we can wear. As soon as the weather is 50 degrees, I'm in running shorts, and I prefer bicycle-type shorts and not too short. I don't like short shorts. Now, stay tuned for my mini rant about women's shorts. Now, if you like shorts, men have it pretty easy. Men's shorts are always have pockets. I've never heard of men's shorts never having pockets. And they're all usually the same length, usually kind of longer, which is really cool because that's what I like, but that's men's. So we women don't have that. Now, some women like to run in skirts, which are like skirts with like short underneath. And it's not my thing, but many of my friends like them a lot. And they usually come with pockets, so that's a huge bonus. If you prefer leggings, there are plenty of choices. There's super cute ones for women, but oddly, the cute ones, usually the cuter they are, the less likely they will to have pockets. That's the truth. Why don't they make them with pockets? Pockets, people, pockets. We need pockets. The men's are almost always black, and they almost always have pockets. Why do men get pockets and we don't? I don't get this. I don't understand it. Now, if you prefer baggier style pants, hiking pants might be an option. They might be pretty cool for you. I have a friend of mine wears these type of pants, and he's quite happy with them as he never has to worry about brush rubbing against his legs. He did a desert race a few years ago, and he didn't like the fact that he constantly got rubbed against cactus. So yeah, that's a plus. So if you don't want to have anything brushing against your leg, that might be a good option for you. Underwear, another thing to consider is underwear. Now, many runners don't wear any at all. That's personal preference, of course. I've had a few times when certain foods have reacted badly, and I was happy I had a filter, shall we say, between me and my shorts. Ha ha, they saved me. I'm not going to say anything else, but I'm sure you can understand. I've covered running bras in great detail in a couple episodes before, And I'm not going to get into it again, but that choose something that is the best fitting for you and the most comfortable. I found mine on Amazon.com. Target used to make my preferred running bras, but they don't make them anymore, so that's where I go to now. Now, here is my rant about women's shorts. There are lots of really cool running clothing companies out there, and they make running clothes. But when these running companies make women's shorts, they usually only offer the shortest shorts for women, and they're loose style shorts. I don't like that style, and I don't wear short shorts. I would love to buy a pair of shorts from these companies, but I don't like that style. I like bicycle type shorts. The shortest I'll go is 3 inches, but I like 5-inch and 7-inch as well, depending on the time of year and how I'm feeling. It's nice to have a choice in a variety of lengths. Have they never heard of Courtney Dahlwalter before? Because she doesn't wear those short shorts. I mean, her style of basketball shorts isn't for me. However, the point is that she doesn't wear short shorts. Why don't these running clothing companies make different style of shorts for women? I don't understand this. Every time I look at them, I look at these companies, they're all these little short shorts. Not every woman wants to wear little short shorts. I'm sorry, we don't. It's very frustrating for me. So I will continue to buy from overseas companies through Amazon because they've left me no choice. And another thing, here's another point of contention is pockets. And pockets will always be a point of contention because they don't think women need pockets in their shorts or leggings. We do. We need pockets just as much, if not more, than men. All right? If men have pockets in their shorts and leggings, we should too. This is really a hot button subject for me. If you meet me and say, let's talk about pockets in women's shorts. Oh boy, we can talk about this all day if you want. I don't get it. What is up with the no pockets? I got this pair of capris, and I love these capris. However, there's only one pocket. There's a right pocket and there's not a left pocket. For goodness sakes, what would it have taken to make a left pocket? Come on, people. Why one pocket? That's all we get? I feel like David Copperfield. Thanks, sir. Can I have more pudding? Good gracious. It's just so odd to me. It's just this strangeness of not giving women pockets on shorts and leggings. What's wrong with you, clothing companies? All right. Okay. I think that's enough of a rant. I need more coffee, obviously. I'm tired. It wore me out. Now, no, I'm going to go for a run. And I am going to enjoy the day. I hope you enjoy your day too. And thank you so much. And there will be a continuation with this in a few weeks. I'm not going to do it right away. I'm going to do another episode on another topic next week, but it will be out in a few weeks where I talk about things running gear runners love, but this will be running gear that you use pre-race and post-race and on days that you don't run. And I'll talk more about that and what you may want to use, what you do use, and I don't know, what you can't do without. All right. And thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate it. Everything will be on the website, martharunstheworld.com. And if you want to email me, martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.